This week you are the clever connector. Your job is to read your chapter and make 3 good, deep connections. Now remember, a connection is just when something that we're reading makes us think of something else. And the more closely we can link those 2 things, the better the connection. I mean, I could be reading about someone eating ice cream, and I could make a connection that says, well, Bobby in the book was eating ice cream, and I like ice cream too. That's a connection. But is it a really good connection? Is it a deep connection that really helps us to understand the story better? No, not really. So your job is to make 3 good connections, and you have a whole chapter to find good connections. Now, let's remind ourselves there are 3 places we can connect to. So we can connect the text, which is the book, to ourself. You can connect it to you. So that's the easiest one usually. If I read something, maybe I read about someone who plays tennis, I can connect that to my life because I like to play tennis, but I'm not very good at it. Maybe just like the person in the book is not very good at it. Or maybe the person in the book is amazing at it, and I would say, well, that reminds me of how I play tennis, except that I would never be able to be that good. Okay? You're thinking about those 2 things. Or you could connect to another text. Maybe the book that you're reading reminds you of another book you've already read. Or it could remind you of a video game you have played, or a TV show you've watched, or a movie you have watched, or a comic that you have read. Text to text is not always book to another book. If that's what it was, that's what we would call it. But text to text means that you can connect what we're reading to anything else that someone has written, whether that's a movie, video game, book, TV show, just about anything media. Like, you could connect it to a YouTube video, although you can maybe do better than that, but if that's the connection you're making, great. Finally, you can connect the book that we're reading to the rest of the world. Maybe you heard about something in the news. It didn't happen to you. You didn't really read about it in another story, but you've heard about something that's happening, or you've learned about another country, or you've learned about something in history, and the book makes you think of that. That would be a text-to-world connection. Now, I also want to remind you that a connection is a bridge. Okay, so the connection is the bridge, but a bridge needs 2 pillars to rest on. If one of the pillars is not there, the bridge is going to collapse. So you need to talk about the book in your connection, and you need to connect it with what you're actually connecting to. So if I'm making a text to self connection, I need to connect it to myself. So if I only say, I connected to myself because I like to play tennis too, all I have is myself here. I didn't talk about the book. My connection is just going to collapse. Okay? Or if I only talk about the book and I don't actually make any connection to anything, it's not a connection. Every connection that you write starts by saying, in the book, this happened. That reminds me of this other thing. In the book, that reminds me of this in my life, okay? 2 sides to every connection. So go ahead, make some really good connections that are going to make the people in your group think. You will be handing this in to me, but you'll also bring it to your group circle time to share with the rest of your group. Have fun reading.